really one of the resounding things we heard over and over again from business and industry was, we have a lot of jobs in Wyoming that we're having to recruit kids from neighboring states to come work in these areas. And they're high-paying jobs, over the median income for Wyoming, that are in technical trade fields, a lot based in fossil fuels, but also in tech and other areas. And so hearing that feedback, we really have made a substantial effort to push it both at the department level, at the legislative level, with our State Board of Education, and really try to bridge that gap between what K-12 is doing and what the Wyoming employer community needs. Several different moving parts on that. One is we created a career readiness council with our state, which has educators and business members that we facilitate and lead at the department. And we use them as kind of just an advisory group to help us with policy, ideas, et cetera, to move this agenda forward. We also had our state superintendent get appointed to our state chamber of commerce. She's actually the first superintendent to sit on the board of that. So we have that direct, concrete communication with industry throughout the year to talk about these things and help them set up education initiatives on the other side. We've worked with the state board and the legislature on including career readiness in statute, as well as promulgating rules and regulations to include it in our accountability model in terms of giving schools points for getting kids an industry certification or passing a career readiness type exam and a school's performance rating. So a lot of different pieces there, but certainly all very important for the whole puzzle of career readiness.
What advice would you give to your colleagues in other states that are thinking about policies such as the ones that you've developed?
I think, one, it's important to have a state school chief really driving hard to create that bond, that connection with industry. And that trickles down to the local districts and the superintendents and the school boards. And we've really seen that start to work and start to mesh because of Superintendent Velo's leadership on that issue. So I think that's a big one. The other big one, too, is just understanding, getting the employer community to understand K-12 and getting K-12 to understand the employer community. K-12 just doesn't adjust as fast as industry does. The needs of industry are rapidly changing constantly, and the data that we have in the education world isn't always necessarily aligned to what the demands are, what the jobs are that are available, and how can we go from teaching woodshop class to welding class to computer science class. I mean, there's teacher certification issues, funding issues. So it's a very challenging problem to solve, but having a superintendent lead and keeping that dialogue really to where the rubber meets the road, which is that local school district and whatever industries are in that area, working together and trying to stay more aligned.
What would you say to researchers who are trying to do that work to inform policy?
I think the most important thing for researchers is to really sit down and have discussions like this with the folks that are in the trenches, so to speak. So the people that are at the local districts or the state education agency or the elected policymakers. Researchers are a big value add for anybody that really wants to push a policy initiative forward. So if you have something you're passionate about as a researcher, find a legislator or a state chief or a local superintendent that is also passionate about that and reach out to them and find if there's a way to leverage your research interest and your resources to help them with their policy agenda and moving it forward.